The meeting we had in the wing rooms back in March, remember where were like 130 people there and we all stuck a post-it note up on the front wall that said the most important thing to us? What I did is this is just me, this isn't definitive, I went through and I tried to sort those off into the groups that we just talked about.
It looked like you.
Okay, it looks like me, yeah. So there are some that I think fall in the neighborhood action category and they're all have an A on them, etc. This is meant to start your work list. Feel free to choose from anything else that's on there. The ones that say CNAC are things that don't seem to fall in any category to me, but are something I think we should do. Then there are a number of blank ones in there too, which are like fix the schools and things, which I don't think we can really accomplish, at least in the time we got available. So this is just a list to get you started on things. For the board guys that are sitting at the table here, we're going to do some letterhead so that when we write letters up we get some things. We don't want to release any private information unless you say okay. So there's one here that's got your name on it. Whatever you want us to release publicly in terms of phones and emails, just fill in on this thing and then get them back to me at the end of the meeting. So there's a pile there, just find the one with your name on it and go. Next step we're going to is the mission statement, which we went through last time. Does anybody have any problems with this? There's two really important pieces. We're here to support the growth of NAC leaders. We're basically going to teach people. We need to have this 30,000 foot view of the city that we have so that our NACs can then go on and do their things individually. But for us, we have to be bringing people up so that they can see the bigger picture as opposed to restricting to just what you need to do. So there's two of our goals, or two of our missions are just to actually teach people what's going on. The last thing is to work hand in hand with the four groups and the staff of the Strong Neighborhoods Department to do what we're doing right now. So if nobody has any objections to that.
Pete?
Yes?
Seems to me that to broaden this, that other than support the growth of NAC leaders, it should be NAC/neighborhood. Somehow or other.
Well,
I don't know if it complicates it too fast, but it's got to go there. It's got to be both.
It will be. It will be. But we need to focus right now on just what we can. We are the 19. Okay, right now we can focus on our NACs and the subordinate neighborhood associations. Later on, like I was saying, this has to go out to the whole city. Okay.
But the neighborhood associations are not subordinate to the NACs, and I think Mac makes a good point.
Well, members of the NACs, right?
They are not necessarily members of the NACs.
Oh, I think. Okay.
Oh, no.
So what do we want to say here now?
Cases.
Support the growth of the neighborhood leaders?
There you go.
Good enough.
And I think we should change the last line to the execution of the strong neighborhood business team. Oh, no.
Oh. Okay, so we'll change this to be neighborhood leaders.
Troy didn't slip there.
Great.
Thank you, Doc.
You want to switch to the next one, which is the job descriptions?
Let's go back.
Back to the top one?
Yeah, so what we changed.
Neighborhood leaders. The one word change is neighborhood leaders. And that will be in the bylaws that Steve's just amending right now. Okay? What are we going to do? The neighborhoods, whether they go through the NAC or not, come to us as their representative, and then we carry these issues on to the city. A little bit like the neighborhood commission. So we need for you, although you're wearing a citywide hat when you're here, you have to bring with it what are the issues in your neighborhood, what is going on, what are your own experiences. That's all we can ever do. Okay? Represent those needs to the board. Okay? Differentiate the various neighborhoods that are within your NAC. Some neighborhoods have problems, others don't. My NAC actually has only one neighborhood in it. We're one and the same. Okay? Of your neighborhoods, who needs the most help and who can really kind of get along on their own. Okay? And then teach the other people in us here. So if you've got skills, Harvey knows all kinds of things that I learned from him. Your responsibility here is to bring that to the rest of us. Then we go the other direction. The city has got a lot of information and programs and everything which they can explain to us. It will be our job to go to our individual NACs and our neighborhoods to tell them what's going on. So as Cindy gets going on this resources things and opportunities become available, She'll let us know, we'll tell our NACs, the NACs will tell the neighborhoods so that the whole thing can float back the other direction. So you have to tell your neighborhoods what's going to affect them that you find out here. Tell them why the city and we are doing what we're doing. Explain what's going on, okay? And then teach your neighbors how to work the system. So this is the other direction. This is from the city side, the information from the city flowing back down to the neighborhoods. Some technology that Heather was talking about earlier. We're going to use this NeighborWeb San Jose, which is what Janice has been working on, as our central point. There might be little pieces hung off of it technically in different ways, but that's going to be the portal. That'll be the place that you're going to go for all of this information. The more you can throw on there, the more people will go there, the more eyes we get there, the better we have for communication. So if you've got meeting dates for your NACs, if you've got meeting dates for your neighborhood associations, if you've got comments from those, we want to get them up on NeighborWeb. Janice is going to set up a discussion forum about the changes that came down this week in the redevelopment agency budget. Like, will the 2-year plan go? What's this tax increment funding for neighborhoods? So how do we actually discuss these things amongst ourselves? So monitor it for yourself. The priorities for the NAC, and organize them into these 4 working groups we've already talked about. We're going to have to, those groups will set deadlines and figure out how we're going to know whether we're getting any place or not. Okay? From those, you will go to your council member to advocate for what's going on, not only in your neighborhood, but others. Okay? And then lobby them for the priorities that we have. I think last year's budget process showed just how weak we are as neighbors. We got the crumbs that are left on the table after everything else is dealt with. We need to change that, basically. Most importantly, we talked about this before, okay, when we're here, we have to take the broad city view, okay? We bring in our knowledge and our expertise and our knowledge of what's going on in our own department, our own areas. But when we're discussing, we don't want to like be fighting over who gets the streetlights first. The minute this thing closes and you go back to the working group talking about streetlights, you get to fight as much as you want. But when we're here, we're really looking over at the global, at the city things. Working group
Before
chairs.
you move on, I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
Janice, does the neighborhood SJ have a chat room thing in it so people can talk to one another?
It does not, but it should. I'm trying to figure out how to do that with WordPress, which is what I'm using.
That would be a very helpful tool.
Yeah.
I mean, it has, you can post comments to anything that's on there. But yeah, I want it to be a easier way to,
And does it have a PayPal key on it?
no.
Probably should think about that if you're going to be looking at getting some money.
Yeah.
There is a Google group for CNAC that you should have all received information on, and that could be you probably not because you changed your email, I'll send it to you, that we could use for now for discussions. So I'll kick that out to everybody so you know it's there. So if we can't get NeighborWeb working that way, we'll link to it from NeighborWeb and we'll use the Google group.
But if it's possible, it should go that way.
Absolutely.
So that everything's contained in one package.
Yes, I agree. The chairs of the working groups. Your job is going to be to conduct meetings, set the goals, figure out what the timelines, what we're supposed to do along the way, assign things to people, complete the projects, etc. This is where all the work gets done. You don't have to be a NAC member. You don't have to be one of the 19 sitting around the table. Please go out and recruit additional help for your working groups. Okay? We were talking about the resources. I've got a woman in my neighborhood who's a banker, and she says, I know places I can go and I can find you money. Banks in neighborhoods want to donate to the neighborhood because it gets them customers. They're not doing it because they're good, they're doing it because they get money out of it. Okay. I've got another guy who's a professional fundraiser. He used to work at the Tech. He's now at San Jose State. He knows how to do these things. He's going to give us some free advice. So those are the job descriptions that you have. Next, I think, is the bylaws, right, Steve?
I've taken what's been passed around several times, and it's been on the email list. And what I've done is I've cleaned a lot of it up. And what I'd like to do is it's going to be a two-step process to keep the city fathers and mothers happy. We're going to adopt, I'm going to make a motion to adopt these bylaws until the next quarterly meeting. if that motion passes, I will make another motion to adopt these bylaws at the December quarterly meeting. I believe Mr. Colstead will second the motion. And then if anybody has any questions, changes, and Mr. Colstead has already found a couple of things that should be modified, he and I will review them. If they're acceptable to the maker and the second of the motion, we'll reprint them and give you a revised version. If there are some things that are not kind of acceptable to us, then we will have specific things to vote on at the December meeting. So the process will be, is I'm now going to make a motion to adopt what you have in front of you for the, until the end of the next quarterly meeting. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Okay.
The motion has been made and seconded.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
A request. If changes are sent to you between now and then, and you decide to make those changes, can you make sure that they are identified in whatever copy you send out, so we can actually see, because I'll look at this and I read too many documents.
Your suggestion is adopted. Good. I think Ken had a question.
What, are there any legal liabilities in this organization?
No,
You sure of that?
no, I'm not sure of it. I'm not representing that as an attorney. But we have put in here specifically that the association, no private member is liable for the debts of the association.
But that's nice, but you're an attorney, you know that
I
doesn't.
just had a case, which was a very nasty little case with one of probably our city's favorite developers, who decided to go after a neighborhood organization that challenged them with an EIR. I won't mention any names. We took it right to the, they took us right to the edge, and we had a judge beat them down. So, there's as much protection as we can do at the present time. When we start getting things like money, there will be reason to take a look at perhaps other either bonding or security or other kinds of situations for us to do. But right now, as it's...
As president of United Neighborhoods, I encourage you to do that sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was going to suggest, would we be eligible to join United Neighborhoods? I'd suggest that we might want to do that.
Okay, well, but right, if I can just preempt Sharon, what she would tell you is the motion on the floor is to adopt this for the next 90 days.
Yeah, but we're just in discussion.
Okay.
Steve, can we have a copy of this?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't, my
Does
apologies.
anybody see any problem with sticking this up on NeighborWeb also? Put the bylaws up there and put the edits online?
Yeah, we will, we will.
Why not, huh?
Well, I haven't done them yet.
That's not a big problem.
Great.
Better question, what is NeighborWeb? How do you get
Yeah.
there? Where
Well,
is it?
let's get the,
Let's get this done, yeah.
Mr. Harkness, let's make sure this runs
Are there any
smoothly.
further discussion on this?
I moved to close the session.
Question? I just want to remind everyone that only representatives of NACs have a vote. So that would be those who are at this table. So everyone in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. looks like we
Mark
have
is
some-
only close to the table.
Okay, I'll now make a motion.
motion.
The second motion is that I move that at the December meeting, that we approve the bylaws for the rest of the time. And those will become our official bylaws.
So these are interim bylaws.
These, what we just passed, are interim bylaws till the end of the December meeting. At the December meeting,